Have you ever gotten an email that you just knew wasn't meant for you? I'm not talking about like personal emails where somebody accidentally sends you the wrong thing. I'm talking about those marketing emails, those obvious mass emails that clearly do not apply to you. Well, it's funny because a couple weeks back, I got a DM asking a question about this, how to kind of tag a certain way in the Kit platform, which, if you don't know, is my favorite email platform. It's the one that I currently use. And I was going to do a video about this today, actually. And then this morning, it happened to me. I opened this email from a theater company back from where I used to live, and it was thanking me for coming and seeing their most recent show and asking me to fill out a survey and tell them what I thought of the show. And I'm thinking, you accidentally sent this to your entire list, didn't you? You didn't tag things properly. So I take that as a sign that this is the video I need to do this week. But before we dive into this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a tutorial or upload. Okay, so with Kit, it can be a little bit maybe not quite as intuitive as it is in other platforms. For some other platforms, when you create a form, you can immediately set within the settings of the form itself, like what it does, whether it tags that person, adds them to a segment or a sequence or things like that. It's a little bit different in Kit. So I just want to show that real quick. So first off, if you haven't even created your form, you're going to go up here into Grow. You're going to go to Landing Pages and Forms. And then from here, you're going to have the option to create a form. Okay, and this is pretty standard. I'm not going to come in here and show all of this, how to create the form part. If you want me to do that, let me know and I will do a separate tutorial on that. But it is important that you create the form first and then you go do what I'm about to show you. Okay, so you create your form and then you're going to come in here to automate. And we're going to go to rules. There's a couple of ways you could do this, but rules is the most, I would say, straightforward. So you're going to come into rules, and this is where you get to set up one of those IFTTT, which stands for if this, then that. And that is what a lot of automation is built on, is this language of if this, then that. A lot of the Trello automation is built on that. A lot of Zapier automation is built on that. It's a very common kind of language, if you want to call it that. So you're going to create a rule. You're going to choose your trigger. Again, see, this should look familiar if you've been watching any of my Trello tutorial stuff. It's set up differently, but similar actions, right? So our trigger is going to be when they subscribe to a form. So when they fill out a form, and then you're going to come in here and you're going to choose the form. So this is one that's just a basic. I never actually set it up. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose that one for right now. But then over here on action, you're going to say add a tag. And from here, you're going to choose a tag that you want them to receive. Now, you can see here that it is important that you have already created the tag because there is not an option here to create the tag in this moment. So I will show you that in just a quick second, but you would come here, choose your tag, and then hit save. And then that would automatically happen on the back end. When somebody subscribes through that form, that tag will come into play. And that's important because while you can start an automation sequence or add them to a sequence of emails simply based on them subscribing to a specific form, these tags come into play in other places, especially in the case that I was talking about earlier when you are talking about sending certain email broadcasts only to certain people. It's a lot easier to do that by including or excluding people with specific tags. So I highly recommend doing it this way. But real quick, let me just show you how you would create that tag in the first place. So we're going to come up here and go to subscribers. And when you go to subscribers, you're going to see all your subscribers, but you're going to come down here and you're going to see all these tags. So at the bottom of your list of tags, you're going to see create a tag. You'll come in here, you'll create it and save. So the two steps you need to do before you set up this rule is create your form and create your tag. And then it's just a quick, simple trigger and action, and you're ready to go. If you don't use Kit, something similar to this will be available in your platform, whether it's tagging using forms like this or segmenting in a different way. So you might just have to play around until you find your version of what I just showed. But if you haven't picked an email platform yet, or if you just aren't loving it, I'm going to put a link in the description here so that you can go and try Kit for yourself. They have a pretty good free level for when you're just getting started, so make sure you check it out. The online tools for your business do not need to be complicated and overwhelming. It's time to let it be easy. I hope you liked that video, and more importantly, that you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with a fellow solopreneur. And make sure you check out the description for links to how we can connect and maybe even work together.